Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're having a fabulous day, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in again to the Get to Know Her show. I am very, very excited to introduce you to my friend Julie Cole. You've read all about her with her bio. I want to read to you guys right now what she has on her Instagram page, which I love so much. She describes herself as recovered lawyer, entrepreneur, mom of 6, speaker, media gal, unapologetic feminist, and co-founder of Mabel's Labels. I cannot wait to talk to this girl. Let's get her on right now.
Hey, Moni.
Julie, I'm so happy to. Good. How are you? I love your background. It's gorgeous.
I'm at the Mabel's headquarters today, and we're busy in production and that sort of thing. So just chilling in the lunch lounge.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Is that where you sit when you're on TV now? Because I know you haven't been able to go into studio, right?
Yeah. So now when I'm Skyping with TV, I usually do it from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my house is too loud.
Yeah, no kidding. You got lots of action over there. So Julie, I want to start with the same question I ask everybody. I want to know, what was it that little Julie wanted to be when she grew up?
That's a really good question. Yeah. Originally, I can tell you the first thing I wanted to do was when I was a very little girl, I wanted to be a cashier at the grocery store because I thought that the cashier got to keep all the money.
Nice.
Then I found out that that's not how that works. So, my aspirations changed quite promptly. I think, I was always somewhere around sort of teacher, lawyer, probably some sort of caregiving, except not anything medical because I'm an empath. And if my sister was vomiting, I had to stay home from school. That's how bad I got it. So I could never do anything like that. So big respect to our frontline workers, especially now.
Yes.
But I do think probably early on, I was, I was always having big opinions and liked having a challenge. So I think law was sort of the direction I was headed in. But as my Instagram bio says, as you noted, I'm a recovered lawyer. I did family law for a while before launching Mabel's Labels. And I must say, recovery is going quite well.
Oh, that's amazing. Now that in itself must have been quite a big decision for you to make. And to make that transition, I can imagine you were probably quite emotionally charged with, expectations on yourself, maybe expectations your family and friends had of you, because that's quite the departure from being a lawyer, right?
For sure. So, and I think, anyone as an entrepreneur, anytime you're leaving the traditional workforce where you have a good career and there's lots of potential, a lot of people think you're crazy, right? And you know what? It kind of checks out.
I will agree with you 100%.
I think, totally. But I think, for me, there were a couple of reasons and for leaving the traditional workforce. One was that, and I have 3 co-founders, and we had a good idea. There was a product missing from the market. We had little kids. We're using masking tape and permanent marker. We're like, nah, we can do better than that. There's got to be something out there. There wasn't. So we created it. So that was my first why. And then my second one is because actually at the time, my eldest child, who was 3, was diagnosed with autism. And I did not think the traditional workforce was going to suit our family any longer because I really wanted to be able to focus on his therapy program and getting him along. And honestly, by that time, he'd only just turned 3 and he already had 2 younger sisters. So it was a busy household anyway.
Yeah.
So those were kind of the 2 catalysts for why Mabel's Labels started. And I think because I had the situation with my son, it probably was a little bit, people probably thought I wasn't as crazy as they may have thought otherwise. But I know my grandfather particularly had a difficult time with it because he thought, here we were a lawyer, my sister was a teacher, the others were a financial planner and a graphics manager. We all had good jobs. And he just thought, and you're leaving all this to make labels? But it was a
Wow.
beautiful day when we opened up our 14,000 square foot facility with our 40 employees. And he came to the grand opening. He was
Oh
like,
my
"Oh,
gosh.
my girl's done good." He changed his tune then.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
for you, Julie. Oh, that's wonderful. And this is your whole, I mean, just listening to you speak right now, this is your whole spirit. This is what I love about you. You just, to me, you're one of those people who goes full speed ahead and you enjoy life, and on the outside it appears like you say yes to everything, like let's just do this, let's put our best foot into it. And is this something that you learned from your parents? Is it something you were born with where they all went, where did this kid come from? Or where did you get that spirit about you?
Look, that's a good question. I think it's kind of a combination of things. Like,
Yeah.
it is funny. I think we are born with our personalities to a certain degree. Like, my mom kept journals of us when we were babies, and those journals they are reflective of who we are. Like, my journal at 3 months was like, Julie likes all the attention. She doesn't want to go to bed. She doesn't want to miss out. She's already babbling so much. Like, literally, like it's so funny. She doesn't want to miss out on any of the action. But I do think too, part of like just sort of the outlook and being generally like just kind of positive or whatever comes from, I think my mom did a really amazing job. We were raised, I often talk about how being raised by a mom who didn't complain. Like, she never complained about things. She was just like, okay, we've got a problem. How are we going to deal with it? Right.
Yeah.
And it's great because complaining, I've always found, I talk about this often, how it's sort of a waste of time. Like, I've never said I'm tired and then suddenly gotten more sleep. Right. So it's like, if I'm tired, what am I going to do about it? I need to make some changes. So there's no point in kind of whinging about it. It's like, let's make some changes. So I think having that attitude, and I think also, like, I just don't take myself that seriously, like I'm like, I'm raising a bunch of kids, so I gotta take that job a bit seriously. But at the same time, they're fine. Like, the kids are all right. Like, if they're watching playing a few too many video games, guess what? That's going to be all right. If they, I end up in the hospital with one of them this weekend, you know what? He'll be okay. These things happen, and I do just kind of roll with it.
That's great. So there's no drama, I find, with you. It's very like, okay. Even I loved when I came to your house once and I saw all around the house you have systems for your kids. Like, this is what we do. Well, back then to get ready for school, this is what we do in the kitchen. Like, everything is very clear for them. And I love that, because I think even as adults, when we have guidelines, and also coming from a corporate environment, like, I know that was something I missed when I left Canada Post. I'm like, I just want someone to tell me what to do.
Right.
And now when I'm overwhelmed, I crave that. I want to have a manager say, okay, here's how you need to prioritize all this stuff. And I think about you, Julie, like, you've got your 6 kids. You're the face of Mabel's. You've got so much going on, and you always show up, which is awesome.
I think it's interesting, Monica. I agree with your point. I think having a little bit of a structure and having a bit of a schedule and that sort of thing, I know I function best with it. I find my family functions best with it. So I do try to provide that. But a lot of my systems I have in place are actually secretly selfish, because I find that if I do that, then my kids are more independent. Like, like, I've got a visual of what they have to get done in the morning, so that I'm not spending my mornings nagging them saying, have you brushed your teeth? Have you packed your lunch? Have you? Instead, they're like, okay, they refer to their visual. Have they done it? And then they move on to the next task, then the next task. And then we have nice positive mornings, and I'm not doing the things for them. They're doing them for themselves. And then they already start the day feeling, having felt accomplished, having done something. They've gotten out the door.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's sort of the purpose behind that. But it is funny about that. Sometimes you wish somebody at Canada Post would tell you what to do. And I think it's funny because I think, like, with that entrepreneurial thing, a lot of people think, oh, well, it must be so great. You're your own boss. And it's funny because I actually found that now I have way more bosses. It was like, okay, I have my co-founders who are I was accountable to our customers. I'm accountable to our staff, our suppliers. I'm like, all of a sudden, one boss doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Absolutely. And so this whole model with your kids and everything, I would imagine that also, sort of shows up at Mabel's Labels too, like with your staff and how they run the show there, because I know that you've been so forward thinking with that as well. Like, okay, guys, here's the expectation, get the work done, and I'm leaving it in your hands. So can you tell us a little bit about that, how you run the show over there? Because it's
For
quite
sure.
something.
Yeah, look, I guess because Mabel's Labels started and succeeded through work done at very unconventional times and in unconventional places, we never really equated results with having to sit in your cubicle. And, like we know that a lot can happen at different times. I mean, that's how this company was built. And I think like being moms and understanding like, if friends who have elder care or pet care or children care, or like we're doing, like the age we are, we're doing a lot of kind of caregiving of a lot of different humans or non-humans.
Yeah.
And we wanted to leave space for that and let people do that, because there's no reason why you can't have a successful career. It's not one or the other. You can do all the things as long as you're productive and you time manage. And so we kind of discovered that if you treat grown-ups like grown-ups, they act like grown-ups. And so this whole going into lockdown hasn't been a huge impact. Like our people generally know how to work from remote places and that sort of thing. And we have those systems in place. And I just feel like it makes for, a better spirit for everybody, a greater company culture. I feel like, they people are more entrepreneurial. So, they're when people are entrepreneurial, it means like in their own job, they're entrepreneurial. And then when they're entrepreneurial, they have a little more skin in the game. And you find like they're more productive because they care more. And, we learn a lot of lessons along the way. One is that micromanaging people is the pits. I mean, nobody wants to be micromanaged. And I think for us, we did have a hard transition. Like when we first hired staff, it was like our worker bees, people making the labels, and that was fine. It was when we had to hire managers, and then we had to really hand over the reins and let them make decisions. And we are entrepreneurs can be kind of control freaks. So we got a way of doing it. My way is the best way, whatever. We have a hard time letting go, but we did learn that if you micromanage your managers, your retention will suck. They'll disappear, and then you'll have this revolving door, and that's no good for business. That costs you a lot of money, and it's no good for you. You need to, if you're sitting there putting out the brush fires and doing all those things, you're not doing the stuff that you need to be doing, which is working. I say work on the business, not in the business. Other people can do that, but if you're not up here thinking that big stuff, then and thinking about growth, then there's no plans and you're going to stagnate, and that's no good for your business or your staff, because then you won't be able to. I find having staff feels like a huge responsibility, because you want them to be able to provide for their families. They have to put food on the table, yada, yada, yada. That is a whole new level of responsibility. And that I found that weighed heavily on us.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So your interview process, Julie, like when you have it, like, let's say you're hiring someone on your management team, is there something that you ask them specifically? Like, how do you, because it's really hard to sort of know if a person is in line with your values, if it feels good, if it's going to flow. Like, is there a piece of advice you could give someone who maybe has their own business, who's thinking, I need to hire somebody and I've never hired before? Because that's,
for sure. We spent a long time, like we went through a year-long process, really figuring out what our core values are. And that meant interviewing our staff, interviewing the founders, and really getting to the bottom. And then we developed what our core values are. And then we, they don't just go up on a poster on the wall. We really integrate them into our interview process. We try to hire and fire by them, because we can teach somebody to make labels. We can teach somebody to do some of the things around here. I mean, obviously we need a lot of smart people who, like, I can't teach a guy how to do the IT, like, we're all beholden to the nerds, let's face it. But like a lot of things can be taught, but culture, you need to cultivate that. You need to get the right people on the bus, and you got to get the wrong people off the bus, and fast. Hire slow, fire fast. That's how we try to operate. The longer you have people hanging around, the worse it is for your company, the worse it is for morale. And I mean, you know, people don't want to see them fired, but they do want to see them gone. They do.
Yeah.
You need to have the right fit, and you're not doing anyone any favors by holding on to them if they're not the right fit for your company.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, for any entrepreneurs out there, small business owners, think a lot about what is important to you. What are you willing to, you know, die on the hill for, you know, and that's how you do your hiring and firing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice. Love it. So Julie, what's next for you as far as media, all your, like, you're always moving and shaking with something exciting. You've got CH segments people can tune into that are quite regular.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just a weird time, right, Mon? Like, you know, usually I'm doing speaking engagements all the time. I'm traveling. Like, I'm supposed to be in, I think, San Diego this weekend. Like, it's weird. My kids are like, Mom's around all the time. But I like that I'm loving that there's more of this stuff going on. People are like, okay, well, look, we need to stay connected. We need to all still learn from each other. So let's find new ways to do that. So I think everybody's been doing that pivot and been innovative in doing that. And now I do find, like, I hosted a conference, like it was supposed to be an in-person conference. Of course, that couldn't happen. And so we did it. We did a virtual conference. And, you know, it's not the same as, like, hanging out in person, you know that, but hey, it was the next best thing, and we all have to make do. So it's weird times for me right now. I do a monthly segment with CH20 Live. I'm doing a few remotes as well, all through Skype, you know, all through Skype. That's and it's fine. It works.
Yeah, and
in some ways it's easier.
I know it is, isn't it?
Some ways it's easier.
This morning I was getting ready. I said to Wayne, I go, "Oh my God, the makeup and the hair! It's like takes so long." And he goes, "But you used
from the waist down."
Yeah, he's like, "You used to do it every day, remember?" I'm like, it's done.
Vaguely.
That's
and
right.
Actually, it's so funny because you got to check. I just posted, and people obviously can read. You know, I blog over at Mabel's Labels and at Modern Mom and a bunch of places. I'm easily found. But I thought of you when I just posted one because my dog is being such a weirdo during COVID. Like, I thought, like, I was so worried about my kids and getting them through it. And then I noticed Ozzy is being such a freak. Anyway, I just posted a blog post about it. I wonder how Boink's doing through it. I'd be interested to see, like, my dog's being so weird.
That's so funny. Yeah, Boink's been a little strange too. I know, they're so, like, we're always around them now. Do you bring Ozzy to work ever?
Well, I don't really. And see, this is the thing. He's got two things that he's doing really weird. And one was that now he's used to all of us being around all the time. So if like one of the biggies kids go to work or whatever, and then he's pining for them, he wants everybody there all the time. And then the latest development was, as the bubble opened a little bit, he didn't like that. He didn't want anyone else in our backyard. We went to the cottage last week, and we let the little boys bring a friend each. If they tried to pet him, he was like, not having it. Wow. He wants only us in his bubble, everybody else out.
Wow, makes sense, eh? It's the pack mentality. You know, he knows his pack.
Seriously.
You know what I love, Julie? I remember when you got Ozzy. Yeah. And I think it was a couple months after, and here you are with your 6 kids, and you said to me, okay, I totally get the dog thing now. I love my doggy so much.
I really was against it. I did not want a dog. I never had a dog before. And it is, when you don't have a dog before, you don't realize, like, you do fall in love with them.
Yeah, I know. I never had one either. Like, I was totally, I'd go to my girlfriend's to a party or whatever. I'd have black pants on, and her German Shepherd would walk by the black pants. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? Like, get this dog away from me.
I was so bad. Like, a friend's dog would die. I'd be like, big deal. It's an animal.
Same.
Like, I was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
My friend was crying over a dead dog. I'm like, it's a dog.
Yeah.
Like, I was dead inside.
Me too. So
I'm sorry, everyone.
God, imagine if we knew each other back then. We would have been terrible ganging up on these poor friends.
We would have been those old men in the Muppets up top.
Yes, totally. I love those guys.
I know. We're those guys.
Yeah. And now we're going to suffer. Those friends of ours have been through several dogs, and they know. And when Boink and Ozzy go, we're going to be hurting, man.
Oh, man. We're going to need group therapy.
Yeah.
Totally. My kids too. I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine.
Because that's obviously that's their first animal too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Good fun.
So how are your kids doing? Like, okay, take us through the ages of the children.
Okay, so this is working out well for me because they're older now. Like the youngest is 11. Like honestly, if this shutdown was 15 years ago, I would have been, I don't know how I would have done it, like launching the business, all these babies, my kid with autism needing treatment. If his speech therapy was cut and his ABA therapy was cut, I would have been a basket case because it was like, that was my time where I knew he was getting the attention he needed. I really feel for my friends in the autism community with little ones and kids with special needs who aren't getting the important early intervention that you know, parents are wanting to have right now. And I know I would be so worried about setbacks and things like that, but you know, we'll all get through it. So they're ages 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, and 20. So I've got one who's going into grade 6. I've got one going in grade 9, grade 10, and then first, second, and third year university.
Wow. And how are they feeling about school? Like even the possibility of them not being able to go back in September. Are they all like disappointed? Do you have some who are like, all right, I don't have to go there?
You know what? It's funny. It seems a little low key. Like, so the oldest one, he's going to probably stay home and do his stuff online. The second, she's got a house at university. So she's going to go. She's doing mostly online learning, but there's a few labs that she'll have to do. And then the third one, she's going to U of T. And apparently they're going to residence, but she won't have a roommate. So I don't know what that's really going to look like. I don't know if she'll get her food from the cafeteria and go sit alone in her room. Like, I don't know what that's like. I feel particularly sorry for that cohort born in 2002. So my daughter Spencer is that. And, you know, she didn't have a prom. She didn't have a grad ceremony, you know, wasn't able. And actually I have one in grade 8 too. And he wasn't able to, you know, do his class trip to Quebec City. And Spencer actually also had a lead role in her school play that got canceled. And now she's going to go off to university and not have the proper first year live in residence, rah-rah experience. Like it's all a little bit, but she's very chill. My kids really are very good about rolling with it as well. Good. Again, I think, you know, like rolling with it has probably been my savior with those kids because then they kind of do it. So you know what, they're managing and in a way, like honestly, I kind of laugh because this 6-kid thing, this has worked out. Like they're socialized all the time. Like they were in the pool last night for 3 hours. Then they came out and they had a movie night. And then they're planning a campaign for Dungeons and Dragons together. And like
that's still a thing, Dungeons and Dragons.
My kids are huge into it. Huge into it. Oh yeah.
Oh my. Okay, I still remember when I don't know if it was Spencer who posted about Daryl and with the Daryl t-shirt. And I'm like, cool, your kid's into Daryl Hall. And you're like, no, Mon, it's Daryl from the zombie show. What the heck is that?
I think we had him in Posey. She loves
Posey. I know. I was ready to send her a mixtape. I'm like, this is so cool.
Buddy. Yeah, no, it was there was things on Walking Dead. That's
Walking Dead.
Yeah. I think that fell out of fashion because they just kept like just, you know, zombies walking around. You only do that for so long.
That's now funny. But the Dungeons and Dragons is in.
Dungeons and Dragons, they're into that. They're into Animal Crossing. They're into other shows. Oh man, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, we're doing Anne with an E. They are loving that. You know, they're big Friends fans, but they're they're good. And they're outside. Good. We're lucky we have a good yard and space and trampoline and pool. Like to have those things definitely helped through this.
Yeah, that's great.
Like I really feel for my mama friends who are like in condos with 2 kids and when the parks were closed, like, get us out of here. Right? Yeah.
And I want to say to all the mamas out there who might be watching who have never heard of you, which I don't think there are any, but you have built such a great community for moms for support. So if anybody is feeling alone or like they've got nobody, like you got Julie.
Yeah, you do.
It's
And you know what?
amazing.
Come on over to Mabel's. Like we've got, a great online community there. We've got great
Yeah.
bloggers. That's where I blog too. And I mean, our Facebook, there's always great content. We have over 200,000 Facebook fans. Like, there's a lot of love, a lot of good stuff going on for sure.
Yeah.
And that is what's nice sort of this time. Like, again, like 15 years ago, we couldn't have done we didn't even have social media, man. Like,
Yeah.
like it would have been so hard to stay connected, and it would have been so worrisome. So, you know what,
Yeah.
even though we're isolated physically, it is great that we have these places online to connect.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky. And then you've got your Mom Cave show too, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. That's really.
Yeah, so it's just a Facebook Live I do, usually at a Monday at noon and a Friday at noon. And we bring on a different expert or guest, and we just have a conversation. And our viewers, usually we do a giveaway, and our viewers can ask questions of our guests. It might be somebody, say, who is a nutrition expert or a sleep expert, or something that brings valuable content and learning to our viewers. And they're really fun, really interactive, and we have upped our online video content since COVID, right? I mean, like most people, because how do we stay in touch otherwise? So that's been a bit of fun.
Yeah, that's great. And Julie, you're such a great support of small business. The first time I met you was at Joelle's. You were getting ready for, I don't know, what was it, a party where you guys had to wear all white or something? It's like so long ago now.
Oh my goodness.
That's when I first met you.
Was that the first time? Right.
Yeah.
So that was Mom 2.0 in Miami Beach. And we had a bunch of different events, and one was a white party on the beach. That's such a fun memory.
That was so. Yes, I remember that.
We ended up having a party at the Versace mansion on that conference too. That was quite swanky, I'll tell you.
Whoa, that's amazing. No wonder you had to go to Joelle's.
No kidding, right?
Yeah, she's so good. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I met you there, and then we kind of got to know each other better through Jacqueline Court.
Right, and we were doing our podcast.
We were doing our podcast, Cocktails and Conversations. We were talking about ex-boyfriends, the whole thing. So we could maybe I can dig up some dirt that people can listen to if they want. Yeah, but it's so great, and we've always connected. And the Sound of Music Festival, you and I were like the two, 40-year-olds dancing like crazy at the front. It was so amazing.
We were.
And then you were here at my 50th birthday party, rocking it out. We had so much fun.
So glad we got to do that before shutdown. That was the best night. Oh man, maybe we should have another one when we get out of all this. Just to
I think so.
Celebrate,
Yeah,
my 50th's coming up.
I know yours is coming up next.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, do you still have your outfit that you wore to mine? Because it was 80s themed. Remember, I think you had the netted gloves on.
Oh, I had a bit of a Cyndi Lauper.
Loved it.
Mesh. Yes, I might still have that kicking around somewhere.
Yeah. Don't get rid of that. You might need it
again. Here's hoping.
Yeah, here's hoping. Julie, you're awesome. I appreciate all your time. I know how busy you are, and I'm still going to ask you for 5 more minutes to come on over to a quick Instagram after party.
Okay, sounds good.
So I will say goodbye to you here. I thank you so much for your time and all the great advice and the stories. You're awesome, girl.
Thanks for having me, Mon. Can't wait to catch up in real life.
Me too. Sounds good. Thanks, Julie. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Julie Cole is amazing. Like I said, she's got a wonderful community, and she offers a lot of support to moms. Her Instagram is fabulous. Check her out. Follow her. If you loved this video, I would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are watching it on YouTube. And there's lots and lots of great interviews to listen to. We've got a wide community of women, and we can't wait to keep bringing you more wonderful interviews. So thank you so much for your time, and you're awesome. Have a great day.